What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking about skill-based matchmaking and the effect that skill-based matchmaking has on connection quality. I did a ton of tests with my Netduma Router and crunched a bunch of numbers for you guys, so I'm going to be sharing all of those results with you today. Let's get into it. Alright guys, before we get into the numbers and everything, I basically want to explain why I wanted to do these tests. So with skill-based matchmaking, essentially what this is doing is it's only putting you into lobbies that are within an acceptable skill range. It's still going to be within their acceptable connection range, but it also has to be within the acceptable skill range. So the theory that I have is based on this. If the game finds two games that you can potentially connect to, of course there's going to be much more than two, but just for argument's sake, just to keep things simple, let's say it finds two games. Both of these games are within that acceptable connection range, whatever that connection range is. I've heard it can be up to like 800 milliseconds ping. I think that's what it was set at for PC or something along those lines, which is way too high. But if both of these are within that acceptable connection range, one of them is an excellent connection. You have a great connection to everybody. They're within your region and everything. You have a great connection. And the other one is acceptable, but honestly pretty bad. There's people in Europe, there's people around the world, like all over the place, but it's within whatever Sledgehammer deems to be acceptable as far as connection goes. The game is going to put you in the one that is best suited to your skill level, regardless of the connection quality at this point. So even if you have a much better connection to lobby A, if that's not within your acceptable skill range, it's going to put you in lobby B and you're going to struggle. Now this is just the theory that I've had, and this is kind of what I wanted to test today with this video. So now I want to talk about my methodology with this testing, and before I do that, I have to explain what the Netduma Router is, in case you guys don't know already. I know a bunch of you guys will, so I'll just go over it relatively quickly. But the Netduma Router essentially allows me to filter who I connect to, so it allows me to choose the best connections and only the best connections. So I can actually set a region, like a range of a region, around me there where I will only connect to people within that region. It will reject any other connections. So if the game tries to put me in an East Coast lobby, keep in mind I'm like kind of middle western Canada. I'm in the Edmonton area, if you know where Edmonton is, in Alberta, Canada. I'm over on sort of the west side. I can set it so it will reject those East Coast connections and it will reject any European connections. So I won't be able to connect to Europeans, they won't be able to connect to me, and it basically gives me the best possible connections. So what I did for my testing is I jumped into 10 different lobbies. The first 5 lobbies I had my filtering turned off, so the Netduma Router wasn't doing anything. These were joining games that I would have joined without any sort of special router or software or anything. It's the same games I would have joined before I got my Netduma. But my Netduma is monitoring to see who I'm connecting to. That's all it's doing. It's not filtering anything. Then the next 5, I put on a relatively strict region and ping area where I would only connect to people that are in my sort of immediate area. I guess I'm saying somewhat immediate, but it still covers most of the western part of North America. Then what I did is I crunched some numbers. I calculated the average kill-death ratios as well as the average prestige level of the enemies that I was running up against. Now keep in mind, I do understand that prestige level doesn't necessarily equate to skill, but for the most part, if you see a lobby with a bunch of people that have never prestige before, they haven't even reached level 50, they're generally going to be extremely easy opponents because they're brand new to the game. So this, to me, it still means something, and I also calculated how many of these types of players I was running into. So the entire idea behind this testing is by not filtering my connections, I'm letting the skill-based matchmaking algorithm do its thing and do whatever it wants to do to just connect me to whatever it feels I should connect to, because there's no filtering going on. Then, when I turn my filters on with the Netduma Router, I'm essentially just saying to Sledgehammer, I reject these connections that you deem acceptable that are on the East Coast or to Europeans or something along those lines. I'm rejecting those, and I'm basically setting my own parameters for what I feel is an acceptable connection. So now, even though there might be some better skill-matched lobbies out there, I'm rejecting a lot of those connections if they're far from me, if they're on the East Coast or if they're in Europe. I'm rejecting those connections, and now I'm forcing the game to put me into the lobby with the best connection, regardless of skill. Alright guys, before we get into the numbers, I feel it's important to share with you my stats so you see where I'm at and who I should basically be connecting to according to the skill-based matchmaking algorithm. So I have a 1.94 kill-death ratio, 2.25 win-loss ratio, and a score per minute of 512. Also, I'll just show my KD from the past 5 games before I started jumping into these lobbies. You can see that I wasn't like killing myself over and over again in the hopes of being matched against noob lobbies or something for this testing. It was just my normal standard average games where my KD kind of fluctuates between like 1.5 to 6 or 7 or whatever it may be, depending on whether or not I had a good game. So I wasn't trying to skew the algorithm in any way. Also, the lobbies that I did join for this testing, I didn't actually join the game and get any kills or do anything along those lines, so this won't skew it either. I simply joined the game, had a quick look at everybody that was there, took a screenshot of everybody that was in the lobby so that I could go find their kill-death ratio and everything on codtracker.net, or I could find their stats in the recent players list, so I could crunch all that. And then I also just checked my Netduma Router and took a screenshot of everyone that I was connecting to and where they were around the world. Alright, so let's have a look at the first lobby. Remember, these are the unfiltered lobbies, the first 5, and the last 5 will be the filtered lobbies. So you can see here, we got into this game, and everybody in the game is in North America, which is nice. Most of them are sort of central USA, and then there's a few on the East Coast as well. And you can see the dedicated server. We're connected to the Seattle dedicated server, and you'll see it's pretty close to where I am, although that white dot there isn't exactly my location. That's just where I set the center of my circle when I do my filtering. I am a little bit north of that point, so I thought I'd just point that out here. As for the stats, you can see the average kill-death ratio of the people in this lobby is 1.34, and the average prestige level is 8.4. Moving on to lobby 2, you can see almost everybody is towards the East Coast. There's some people down in the Florida area and over towards like New York and that area there. So with this one, I am connecting to people that are pretty far away from me, and I likely don't have the greatest connection to these people. I might have a good connection to the server because I'm close to it, but not necessarily the other people. And with the way lag compensation works, you could be on either end of that with this. And the average kill-death ratio in this lobby was 1.03, and the average prestige level was 10.6. For lobby 3, once again, everybody is in North America, and this one was spread out quite far. We had some people in California, we had some people on the East Coast, we had some people basically all over the United States, but it was still all North America. And with this one, the average kill-death ratio was 1.29, and the average prestige level was 7.1. Moving on to lobby 4, this is where we started to see something a little bit on the crazy side. We can see some people are in Europe in this one, and also on the East Coast. Now, sometimes the Netduma doesn't pick up every single person in the lobby, because you might notice there's not actually 12 different dots or 11 different dots on this map, even though I've got a full lobby of people. So sometimes it doesn't pick people up, but it was picking some of those people up in Europe as well as on the East Coast. This would have been a very bad connection lobby to a lot of the different people in the lobby. Average kill-death ratio was 1.05, and the average prestige was 7.1. So for our final unfiltered lobby here, we see that it's actually grouped up quite nicely where all the players are, but they're more towards the East Coast. So I'm kind of an outlier compared to these guys. So connection-wise, it wouldn't have been the greatest. Again, even though I'm close to the server, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to have a connection advantage over these people. The average kill-death ratio was 1.03 in this one, and the average prestige was 9.3. Alright, so now let's get into the filtered lobbies. So here we go, we have this one here. You can see my filter range, that little radius of that green circle. That is what I set my filter range to. And as you can see, everybody in this lobby is within that filter range. I did get a Kansas dedicated server here. And for this lobby, the average kill-death ratio was 1.37, and the average prestige was 9.8. One thing I wanted to point out here is you might notice that I'm starting to see some lower level players mixed in here. Of course, there still are some Master Prestigers, there's still some really high level players, but as soon as I turn that filter on, you start to see more and more of these people that have never even reached rank 50 before. Moving on to the next lobby, as you can see here, the filter didn't work out too well. The people that I'm connecting to, some of them are showing up as yellow triangles. That's because they're outside my filter range. So I'm actually playing against somebody from Mexico here and a few people on the East Coast as well. So the filter didn't work quite as well, but you can see here who I'm connecting to, and the average kill-death ratio was 0.99, and the average prestige was 2.2. Moving on to the 8th lobby that I joined, This one, everybody is pretty much West Coast. There's one guy over there, probably, I think that's like Kansas area. I'm not too great with my states, with my US geography, but somewhere in that area there. And we're grouped up pretty well. The average KD in this one is 1.18, and the average prestige level is 5. Moving on to Lobby 9, you can see we've got some players sort of in the middle part of the United States there, and all of those states in that area. Again, it didn't pick up everybody. There's a few lobbies where it just doesn't pick up everybody on the Netduma, so you can only see a few dots, but they're more or less going to be within that radius that I set. And the average KD in this one was 1, right on the dot 1, and the average prestige level was 2.2. So finally, we have lobby number 10 here, and with this one you can see that I'm connecting mainly to West Coast people. I did get that Kansas dedicated server for this one. The average KD in this one was 1.21, and the average prestige level was 4.1. So let's look at the overall averages between my filtered and my unfiltered lobbies. So for the unfiltered lobbies, these are the lobbies without the Netduma, these are the lobbies I would normally get. The average kill death ratio was 1.15. and the average prestige level was 8.5. I also decided to add a little stat called total number of noobs, and by noobs I just mean people that are less than level 50 first prestige, so they've never even made it to level 50. These are often like the dream lobbies you find. When you see a bunch of these guys in the lobby, this is generally seen as a dream lobby because these people are simply not experienced regardless of what their kill death ratio is. It's much easier to get a high kill death ratio in your first 5 games because you don't have a huge sample size yet. And a lot of the times I feel like that kind of skews the kill death ratio of these people, but that's kind of why I wanted to calculate this number of noobs. For our filtered, we had the exact same average kill death ratio. I was really shocked by this. 1.15. It was the exact same average kill death ratio. But the average prestige was 4.46, and the total number of noobs we ran into in those 5 lobbies was 11. So overall, I was noticing once I turned that filter on, I was running into people that were lower levels, that weren't as experienced. And again, I do realize that level doesn't mean everything as far as skill. I've seen lots of people in like Grandmaster Prestigers that aren't really all that great at the game. They don't perform very well. But on average, when you notice people are lower levels, that means they haven't put as much time into the game, and generally they don't put up quite as much of a fight. So overall, certain parts of this kind of surprised me and went against my theory, and other parts kind of went with my theory. So the average kill death ratio, I was really surprised. I was expecting to see like an average kill death ratio of my unfiltered. I was expecting to see like 1.3 somewhere in there. And then I was expecting to see my filtered kill death ratio like right around the 1 KD. I was surprised that they were exactly the same. So it doesn't really seem to have much of an effect whether you filter or not on the kill death ratios of your players based on this relatively small sample that I did take. But if I had taken any larger of a sample, it would have taken me many days. This already took me like 6 hours to compile all this data. The one thing that does seem to support my theory in a way is the average level of the people that you're running into. It seems like you run into a lot lower level players when you sort of fight against that skill-based matchmaking algorithm. You make it so you find the best connections rather than an acceptable connection within your skill range. It seems like level actually does seem to play a pretty big factor with this. I could be mistaken on this. We still don't know the exact criteria that goes into skill-based matchmaking, but after seeing this, I am assuming it does have to do with your level, or maybe even just time played, and that's just how that works. So the people that are higher prestige obviously have more time played than the people that have never prestiged before, and never even reached rank 50. So it may be time played, it may be your actual prestige level itself, but it does seem to have some effect on the skill-based matchmaking. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Were you as surprised as I was to see that the kill death ratio didn't change whether I was filtering or not filtering my lobbies? Or were you surprised that I was able to even sort of filter that connection at all to get into the easier sort of lobbies where the people were lower levels? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.